Welcome to episode 118 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
We're back this week with another Casserole episode, which we haven't done in a while. Doesn't mean we don't have anything to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. List of stuff to talk about.
That's the difference between this, a casserole, and a winging it.
Right.
You know, casserole, we have an idea, but there's no like overarching theme. But for winging it, there's literally
we have no
nothing.
fucking clue.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. We got nothing. So anyway, I got a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and then I saw online. I'm sure we're going to have some overlap. We usually don't know what we're going to talk about, what each person has on their list to talk about, but I'm sure there's some overlap. But a lot of news this week on the movie front. I saw a report about Venom, which is starring Tom Hardy. I saw
most of these reports are just dumb, though.
They're not huge news, but if Tom Holland as Spider-Man is in the Venom movie, that's something kind of substantial, I think.
I would figure that would already be the case. But like there was one post where it was, watch Tom Venom releases first picture of Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, and he was standing there. He was just standing there in a button down.
He just looked like Tom Hardy. You're like, oh,
okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is Tom Hardy waiting in line for coffee. What's going on?
Yeah, that could be any Christopher Nolan movie. Like, what is that?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. like Tom Holland doesn't go around dressing like Peter Parker, as a civilian, like as a high school student,
He's just walking around.
But like the outfit that Eddie Brock, quote unquote, Eddie Brock was in, it was like, oh, I could. Tom Hardy is, waiting in line at Starbucks for something. That's what it looks like.
It could be anybody.
Yeah, that could be like a outtake from Inception. You would never know.
Because he wear like suits. They wore like suits.
Yeah, that'd probably be the only way. Yeah.
So. All right, that's not very newsworthy then, I guess. But but Spider Homecoming, the Spider Homecoming writers, I guess, are going to. They were hired to direct the Flashpoint movie, the Flash movie, which has been like it was supposed to come out this year or last year or something.
Who knows? It's lost 3 directors.
Oh yeah. I mean, more directors than
couple
Disney's,
screenwriters,
more directors than Star Wars fired. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, but I don't know if I'm excited for that movie at all. I saw one article online that made me laugh, and it was like the Flashpoint movie is going to be lighthearted and more fun, like the funniest Flash thing you've ever seen. And I was like, what? Like the Flashpoint's not funny.
No, Flashpoint's fucking dark.
Yeah, it's dark as shit, man. I was like, what kind of? Maybe it's just clickbait. I don't know. It seems like people just
no. I read that article too.
You did?
I read that article too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing really surprises me anymore about DC. Even though they lost Jeff Johns for the DC movies, this new guy. This news broke after this new guy was announced, and you're like, okay. It seems like you've learned absolutely nothing. Good job.
Yeah, the guy that they hired to kind of help run the DC, like he's doing all the horror films, like the Insidious films and some other stuff. That's made a lot of money for them, like tons of. But that's the furthest thing from a comic book,
Yeah, if anything, Flashpoint would be more towards that thriller horror type thing,
right?
Where Flash's reality is turned upside down. I mean, it's fucked up. It's really messed up, but the problem with doing a Flashpoint movie is that you've never established in the movie realm what Flash's reality actually is.
Right.
You get like a couple minutes backstory in Justice League, which was completely stupid because to do it in a Justice League movie. But you don't know his background, so now all of a sudden you're going to alter his entire background when you haven't even really shown it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Speaking of DC, the other article that I saw that made me laugh was they said that Ben Affleck is on his way out and that his last portrayal as Batman is going to be in Suicide Squad 2.
Oh wow,
And
that's sooner than I thought.
Yeah, but that just by saying that made me laugh because it sounded like it made me think of Raul Julia's last movie ever was like Street Fighter, and I was like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, you're really gonna play Batman one last time in Suicide Squad 2? Like,
Yeah.
God, okay,
You kind of almost have to do the Batman movie just because you don't want that to be your last one.
right. But I guess they're like, well, we need a new Batman.
I mean, if you gave it another chance, I'm sure Christopher Reeve would have done something else besides Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
He would have, been like, all right, let's do an older Superman.
You would have gone like, yeah, let's go. No, I almost said something really horrible, and I can't do that. I can't do that to Mr. Reeve. What else? What do you got? What kind of shit did you?
I've been watching a lot of shit. That's my news. That's my casserole stuff.
New or old shit?
Actually, a little mixture of both. Like, I finally finished Batman the Animated Series for the 5th time.
Nice.
But I actually went back and watched The Last Jedi since we reviewed it. It was the first time. It's my second time viewing it.
Okay.
And I fucking liked it the second time so much more. The exact opposite of what like one of our listeners told me, that we basically ruined it when he went to go see it a second time.
Okay.
He said we kind of ruined it after our review for him, and then like I go and see it, and I'm like, oh, I like it a lot better. I don't know why. I think it has to do with the first time or every time I watch a movie now, it's through like movie critic eyes instead of just sitting there and trying to enjoy it. Unless it's like a glaring issue like Justice League, there's nothing that could make me sit down and enjoy that movie, unless it's good.
Right.
But for The Last Jedi, I kind of just because we even said in the review that there's parts of this movie that are fucking awesome, that things I've never seen before. And again, the scene that stood out the most is when Kylo Ren and Rey fight together in that awesome fucking wide angle slow-mo shot of them igniting their lightsabers and starting to fight the Praetorian Guards. It was fucking phenomenal.
Right.
Even so, the second time around. But with the issues that I had the first time around, I kind of just like, they still stood out, but I didn't gripe on them. And I just like let myself go back into the movie. And I really liked it a lot better this time around. Things made a little bit more sense as I wasn't trying to overanalyze the stuff that was going on. That was shocking.
That was my second time, but then I went and watched it a third time, and I got mad again. And I'll tell you why. After the Praetorian Guard fight, the rest of the movie to me, I just dislike. I don't enjoy. Like after that fight's over, the third time around that I watched it, I was like, they should just end the movie right here because the rest of it is just. It's just
so there's a couple of things that I missed the first time around, and it was actually explained by Kylo Ren why Luke died at the end of the movie.
Okay.
It's during the very first Force connection between him and Rey, and Kylo Ren is about to force energy himself, like to manipulate Rey's mind into telling him where Luke Skywalker is, right? And he stops right when he's about to start. He's like, "No, that's foolish. That would kill me." And I was like, "Oh, so that was Rian Johnson's like subtle way of saying like, Kylo Ren is going to die if he even tries to manipulate this mind right here, right?" Luke does it. Luke is not trying. So Kylo Ren is just trying to get a piece of information, right?
Right.
That's all he's trying to do. Luke goes out there and manipulates every single fucker's mind on that entire battlefield while force projecting his 3D image.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, that made sense. Like, because if Kylo Ren thought he was going to die just by trying to manipulate Rey's mind, you can imagine the toll it took for Luke to do that. Shows you the power between the two Force users, right?
Right.
Another thing I picked up the second time around that I didn't pick up the first time around was that planet of Octo didn't have two suns. It only had the one. Right. So that second sun was it looked like it was definitely put in there as him, like, a callback to Tatooine. So I thought that was pretty cool. But that the Luke dying thing was subtly said by Kylo Ren in the beginning of the movie, and I don't know why I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't pick up on that. I've watched it 3 times. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's the first time or the second time, but it's definitely when Kylo Ren reaches out with his hand and tries to grab the information like he did from Poe in the first movie and tried to do to Rey in the first movie. He tries to do that, but because they're so far,
and he just goes, "Oh, that's gonna kill me."
yeah, he's like, no, that would just kill me because he would have to pull that information across like the galaxy to get it out of her mind, right? Because she's on a
Oh.
different planet.
I gotcha.
So he stops at that little tiny bit of the Force energy that he would have to use in person, but doing that across the galaxy would kill him just by trying to pull out information. So think about the amount of power that it takes for Luke
interesting.
to manipulate every single, like, not only just, Kylo Ren and Leia, but he did it to a fucking droid too.
Yeah.
Like he did it to everybody in the base. Everybody saw him in the base. Everybody saw him, on the First Order side. Then he had to project his 3D self as well.
Where the fuck did he learn that?
I don't know, but here's the other thing about that scene too. So one of the things I said in the review was like, I wonder, did Luke die before or after the dice disappear from Kylo Ren's hands? And I couldn't remember after the first viewing. Well, I paid attention this time around. Luke is dead like a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, which is a long time, before that dice disappears from his hands. So that scene still doesn't make any fucking sense to me because he's dead at this point.
Well,
he is so fucking dead.
The only thing you can probably say is that his power was so strong. Well, it takes a long time for his power to reach that far. So you could argue that it took a while for the dice to register that he was dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't forget that he made himself disappear in front of Kylo Ren outside the base way before that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like it should have been intertwined with his death scene.
The weird thing is, I feel like Rian Johnson's been kind of like DC in that he's had to explain every fucking move that he made versus just saying, "Hey, that's the movie I wrote. Just deal with it." You know what I mean? It's like that's what I would do if I were him. I'd be like, "Hey, this is how I wrote it. So just whatever, go fuck yourself."
Exactly. I don't want to explain this shit.
Yeah, I don't want to explain this shit. You don't get it, then whatever.
Well, there's still, like I said, there's still things that I don't like that still didn't make any sense, like the dice scene. Now that I've confirmed that the dice are still being projected long after Luke is dead, makes no goddamn sense to me. I still hate the Leia popping scene. I hate that. I really do. The second time around, hated it even more.
Yeah, me too.
But overall, I enjoyed the movie a lot more just to be able to sit there and not overanalyze while I was watching the movie. And in that sense, I was able to pay attention more. And like the line that Kylo Ren says, I wasn't looking for that line. It was just there when he said it. I'm like, oh, must have missed this line the first time around.
Yeah, that's cool. No, that's cool. I don't like the whole Canto Bite scene. I don't like this. Okay, so after the light speed thing and it rips the Dreadnought apart or Snoke's ship apart,
right?
You notice that Captain Phasma, who was standing right there in front of them, now all of a sudden is like really far away and marching in.
Yeah.
And then every ship is destroyed except for one shuttle at the end that they have to get to. And then of course
that's laid out like perfectly.
Yeah, and then BB-8 comes out of nowhere. Like that whole scene it bugged me to no end. I'm like, this is so set up. I don't like this. And the second and third time around it was worse. I noticed it even worse and I didn't like it.
Yeah, the only thing I could think about was that it wasn't Phasma that was blown away. It was Finn that was blown away, and Phasma's walking back towards him.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I could think of.
I guess, but you have to be blown really far away. They were standing right in front of each other.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
The scene wasn't that great. It was just the way to get to that beautiful, ship blowing scene.
God,
was fucking awesome.
Still amazing. Yeah, it's still amazing. So speaking of Star Wars, they haven't released a trailer yet. I know that it's happening soon. It might even happen. Might have to wait to the Super Bowl, whatever. But the synopsis is now out, and reading this synopsis, it totally reminds me of Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, when you first meet him as young, like he's River Phoenix, I think, plays him. And then all those little things happen on the train, like he gets the cut on his chin. He's afraid.
But it's just one giant movie of that.
Exactly. He's afraid of snakes. He like uses the whip for the first time. So there's like 3 or 4 things that he gets the hat. All that fucking shit happens within a half an hour of it. You know, it all happens at once.
Yeah, it's like only 10 minutes.
Right. And so now
that's how good Steven Spielberg is. He does what they're trying to do with Solo in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Solo is trying to make a whole movie where he meets Chewie, he gets the Falcon, you meet Lando.
It's literally just
Kessel
a giant
Run.
Easter egg.
Yeah, that's all it is. And I don't know if I want to see that. I really don't.
This is how little I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
I saw that article, or all the articles about Solo. You know, finally the movie synopsis is out. I looked at the article and was like, I don't want to fucking read this. That's how, and it's Star Wars. Again, this is Star Wars, and this is how little I care about this movie. The synopsis was released. Do you think I would have did this shit with The Last Jedi? No fucking way. I wanted to know what this movie was about.
Right.
But with Solo, I actually bypassed that. I was more interested in the Tomb Raider trailer that was released.
Oh man, yeah, we got to talk about that in a second. I've got a whole bunch of trailers we could talk about. So anyway, Solo. I mean, obviously we're gonna go watch it. It's in our top 10 because it's Star Wars,
and that's the only reason why.
But that synopsis, like I read it, and I'm like, yeah, so this isn't any fucking different than what I already thought. Like there's nothing.
And
nothing new in
and
here.
the fact that you confirmed this is what I thought, I don't want to see this even more.
Hey, I already watched it. We're done. I know what it is.
I've already played this movie out in my head 500 times. There's nothing you could do that would make me say this movie definitely needs to be made.
And there's a love interest, so she's probably gonna die, or she's gonna like say you're too fucking scary. I need to leave you. And so
yeah, because we already know how this movie ends.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. Did you see? This was interesting to me, and maybe you know a little bit more about it because you've seen the Infinity War comics and the cartoons and all that. But there was like some set photos in Avengers 4 that revealed.
I didn't click it.
Oh, okay. You want me to say it?
Is it leaked set photos? Or is it?
It doesn't look like it. I mean, they look like set photos, but someone really paying attention to the photos noticed something that each of the Avengers was wearing that indicated that there might be time travel.
I don't want to know.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it. But Avengers 4 is more and more becoming that. I love what they're doing with that movie. They're making it such a mystery. You know, they haven't even put the title out. You have no freaking clue what it's about because we're about to hit Infinity War, which is like the biggie. But 4 seems really intriguing to me.
Well, they can't because 4 ties right into what this is coming out this summer.
And it would tell you like who's alive and who dies and all that.
Right.
Well, I heard that the Ant-Man and the Wasp takes place before Infinity War. I heard it doesn't take place after, which would
when is it released?
It's kind of weird. Released. It's actually released after the Infinity War comes out, but I heard the story itself takes place before Infinity War. So I don't know.
Well, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. Again, could be. Just
and here's why it's dumb because Doctor Strange apparently takes place before the second Avengers movie. I think.
Oh,
something
before
like that.
Age of Ultron.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, I think it takes place during Civil War.
Okay.
Because remember that scene when he was driving before he becomes like his hands get all fucked up.
The back injury, yeah.
Yeah, the back injury on the.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it takes place then, but he doesn't show up in like if there was an Avengers movie, he doesn't show up in the Avengers movie. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that big of a deal that Civil War happened first, then Doctor Strange happened in November. This is weird because Ant-Man and I think Wasp will be in Infinity War. So and then you have to go back and you have to watch them in their own story that takes place before Infinity War, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if they weren't in the movie, it'd be fine, but I know they're going to be in the movie, so...
Yeah, at one point, there's going to be like 40 or 50 or 60 people all at once on the screen fighting.
Yeah, I got
That
goosebumps
sounds
just thinking
insane.
about that.
God, I know. I'm just like,
I mean,
that's
just think
gonna be
about the
amazing.
scale of Civil War. It was only what, like 6-on-6,
Yeah,
something like that, and it was just them fighting each other. Now picture 40 superheroes fighting all the minions from Thanos and shit. I'm like,
yeah,
oh fuck, this is gonna be so
God.
awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. God, it's gonna be amazing. Um, so you were telling me that you're the one that told me that Godzilla was going to be on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
And so the animation. So I went and started watching. I'm not finished with it. I still have about half of it to go. But so far, I mean, the animation is just freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is so gorgeous, and the story to me was actually pretty intriguing. Like I'm really intrigued. I mean, it's all in Japanese, so you have to read the English subtitles, which I don't care. I like hearing the language because it just makes it more authentic. And I'm really digging the story so far. You know, I think what is exactly the story? Isn't it about the kaiju kind of rise up and then they have to leave Earth because they can't. Like Godzilla is like the biggest one of all, and they can't destroy.
Yeah,
it.
they weren't able to kill it, and then these aliens came down and tried to give them away off Earth, or try to help. They said they could defeat Godzilla, and they were fucking wrong, and so they both species left Earth, and then they decide they've been out for almost 1,000 years, I think, something like that.
10,000. I think they left for 22 years, but in Earth years, it's like 10,000 years.
No, it's longer than 22 years. In real life, it's 1,000.
Okay.
No, you're right. It's 22 years. You're right. It is 22 years. But because of hyperspace or how we're traveling, because that's always weird with space and time.
Right.
When you're actually traveling through space. So it seems like this one is 20 something years. You're right, because that kid tells that backstory why he hates Godzilla so much.
Right.
So, yeah, but it's like 10,000 years since they left Earth.
Yeah. And he's still fucking there. It's crazy. And they try to like explain why, and it was kind of interesting. But so I'm at the part where they get back to Earth, spoilers. And they're, sending drones down there and all that stuff. I still got a long way to go.
I wish you finished it because I really wanted to talk about the ending.
Well, we'll have to, we'll have. Are there any post-credit scenes?
You know what? I didn't even look for a post-credit scene.
Okay. Well,
The whole ending was like a post-credit scene. You'll see it. You'll see why.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll have to catch it. It says episode 1, so I know there's going to be more shit.
Well, the second part is coming out in Japan this summer.
Oh, cool. Well,
like in
wait.
theaters in Japan.
Well, wow. Well, I'm digging what Netflix is doing. I love the Castlevania short that they did, and I can't wait to see.
Oh, I love that one.
More
was
of that.
So good.
Yeah, that was just so fucking good.
So speaking of Netflix, you know what I've been binge watching a lot of comedy specials, and watching almost all of the comedians getting coffee in cars.
Oh yeah,
like
love that show.
I've never seen it before. It's fucking awesome. It's only like 16 minutes long for each episode around, and it's so good. Like just listening to these comedians talk to each other, and it's really funny stuff, but also it's intriguing to see how they break down comedy to like almost like a science.
It is. It is interesting to watch them interact. They act like kids, and they're like making jokes like on the fly, whatever situation that they're in. I just fucking love that. No, and the cars are, you're like, oh, what car are they going to get in this episode? And it's like this, and he usually picks the car that kind of goes along with the comedian he wants to pick up.
Yeah, it used to be interesting, like the first like 10 episodes I saw, but there's like 50 episodes, so I just fast forward through the car shit.
Yeah,
that's because I don't give a shit about that.
I've been picking and choosing the comedian because some of them I'm like, I don't know, I'll see that guy.
I started with Barack Obama. Was my first one.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
That was a good one.
He seems like a fun guy. Barack Obama.
He does.
I don't really care for his what he did too much. Basically, just because he was supposed to be more liberal.
Yeah.
Or more progressive president. Ended up making more money than any president. Anyway, regardless, he seems like somebody that I would go have a beer with or watch a game with.
Oh yeah, totally. He's into sports and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love when he's like trying to like joke. He's funny. He's actually pretty funny.
Well, he's intelligent. He's extremely intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's funny is when he was talking to Jerry, he would do the the hand up in the air in a fist, and he's like doing that thing with his hand. I'm like, dude, you're not talking to to the United States. You're talking to Jerry Seinfeld. Put your hands down. Like he was doing that presidential thing with his arm. That most presidents do. I think Bill Clinton did it too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he was actually Barack Obama was actually on the other Netflix special that released recently too. Was the David Letterman's back?
I haven't watched that yet. I've been watching so much other stuff. I want to watch that.
It's pretty good. It's literally a live podcast. Is what it is. There's no script. There's nothing to it, and it's just the two of them sitting down talking to each other.
Is that an audience? Is there a studio audience?
There is an audience, but it's filmed with multiple cameras, so it's just all live in one shot.
Huh.
So all they do is cut it together, but basically it's literally just a live podcast. Like they call it an interview, but there's no script. So there's at one point where Barack Obama is asking questions to Letterman.
Oh, cool. I like that.
So it's literally just a podcast. Letterman found a way to make money off of shit that me and you do for free.
I think a lot of people have done that though.
Yeah, but it's fucking Letterman.
If we rented a venue and sold tickets, we could get like one person. Like,
yeah. The next episode. So it's only that Letterman thing is only once a month.
Oh, okay.
And the next episode is George Clooney.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so that one I've been watching. I watched all the Chappelle ones. Been watching all that.
Those are so good. He's so intelligent, so funny.
I even went back and started watching like old stuff to see like because between the getting coffee with comedians in the cars and shit, they in a lot of the episodes they talk a lot about the older influences for them. Right. So I've gone on YouTube and actually gone back and I have actually watched Bill Cosby's things. Like I went back and watched some of Bill Cosby's stand-up, before everybody knew he was drugging.
Did it seem?
Women.
Did he seem rapey during those shows?
No, but
Any
what's funny is that I found myself not laughing as much as I would have had I not known that he was a fucking rapist.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, like the stuff he was saying was funny. But like it felt like a part of me was just like, don't you fucking laugh. That guy's a rapist. Like it was funny. And I would catch myself like, fuck you. Like halfway through, like laughing, I'd be like, fuck you, asshole.
Yeah, because his observations, I know, his observations are so funny.
They are, but at the same time, I'm just like, fuck you anyway, because like what he was doing.
Yeah.
So this is how much comedy shit I've watched in the past week. I wasn't feeling great the other night, and I had a really tough time sleeping. I think I only got like 2 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. I have watched so much fucking comedy shit that I was hallucinating. I was so fucking tired and sick that I wrote a joke as David Chappelle. I was David Chappelle, and my 16-year-old black daughter, who I'm assuming David Chappelle has a 16-year-old black daughter, wrote the punchline better than I did. As Dave Chappelle, and me as Dave Chappelle couldn't let it go and was trying to write a better punchline for it. It was like a fucking episode of like, I don't know, whatever.
Curb Your Enthusiasm or something? Or
yeah, something like that. Like it made, but here's the thing. It was like, I was Dave Chappelle. Like, I don't even know what Dave Chappelle's kids look like. I don't even know if he has a daughter.
Yeah.
But in this hallucination, he has a 16-year-old daughter who is actually me in this hallucination. And she wrote a better punchline than me, and that was like that was what I was hallucinating.
It's like your
night.
Kid beating you at Mario Kart or something, or street. Like
I guess, but I would be like
you're like a gamer, and your kid like beats you at Call of Duty, like 1-on-1.
Yeah, but that would be like but in that dream, it would be like me as Kojima or something. Like it didn't make any sense why I was David Chappelle, other than I was watching a lot of David Chappelle shit. Like I went back and started watching the Chappelle show.
You were a Karate Kid about to do the crane kick, and Johnny comes and kicks you in the nuts.
Yeah, but in this dream, I'm Danny LaRusso.
And you got kicked in the face. So you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So I started watching the CW shows. Arrow is on tonight, so obviously I haven't watched that or Legends.
Right.
But and I haven't watched Supergirl either. I watched
Flash?
I watched The Flash.
Let's talk about that because I got issues.
Okay, let's do it because I have big problem with that too.
First of all, that lady is a terrible fucking lawyer.
Yeah, wasn't it like it's his dad's like girlfriend?
Fiance.
And I was like, why would you? Yeah, I was like, no, she's too close. Like, you need to get someone else in there.
No, but the shit that she was doing because she was supposed to be really good. I was like, because I've watched so much Law and Order, right? I've watched so much fucking Law and Order. I'm like, wait a minute, you know this lady's smart. You just can't show the picture of her kissing that guy. They would have had a contingency plan for this. You need to do a little research. Ask for a break. Ask for like a 30-minute recess. I've seen that happen before.
I've seen it too. I was watching that going like, that ain't going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work. She's going to fuck with you.
As soon as that girl started talking, I was like, she's going to say that they had an open marriage and that he wanted her to be happy.
Yeah, and then the lawyer just stands there instead of like thinking on the spot. She's just like, no further questions.
Okay. And then like, Barry, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Tell him you're the Flash. You'll get off.
Yeah,
But
that was her. That was the great lawyer. That was the great defense lawyer. Just tell him you're the Flash.
Yeah, you'll get off.
Like it's no big fucking deal. like you were cheating on your diet or something. Like just tell him you had a hamburger. It's fine. It's not a big deal. That's how she was trying to portray like him revealing himself as the Flash. It's like just tell him you're the Flash. You'll get off.
Yeah, and then here
Problem solved.
Here you have Batman going to a bar talking to Aquaman.
Right.
With
I don't know what is it with DC.
50 people. It's like, and the Flash is just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not telling everybody who I am. So go fuck yourself. I'm not going to do it.
It was just the way that like watching her in the courtroom was like, wow, you're a terrible fucking lawyer.
I like how you point at Law and Order like you should have a law degree because you've watched 200 episodes of it.
Well, I'm doing like TV shit. Like I know every TV law shit in the book. Like ask for a recess, so you can like do some shit and research this
guy,
this evidence that you just got. Like who is this guy? What's his background? Like when he said like we both the person she was kissing. That guy lost his mother to the same disease that.
Yeah, research that shit.
I was like, well, if you researched it, you would have been able to know whether that guy had that happen to his mom.
Like when did
and you would have been able to call it out in court.
Yeah, when did you exactly meet him? 2 months ago. Okay, and then just go like, figure it out.
Yeah, and then you can go research like which group you went to, where was it. Now you can look at the meeting notes. When did they actually meet and all that shit? And you can actually try and triangulate where this guy was around that guy, around that time frame. Was he actually there? Probably not because, he probably didn't go to meetings, right? But instead, you fucking go in there, guns blazing with this brand new evidence, and she fucking roasted you on the witness stand. And your best comeback is no more questions.
No more questions. I don't know what else. Barry.
She reminded me of the shitty stuttering lawyer from My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny, yeah.
Where remember where he goes to the one fat dude with the glasses and it's like, oh, so you didn't have your prescription eyeglasses when you were like, and then he goes, they're reading glasses. And the guy's like, oh, questions. Fuck. He goes, no more questions for you. That's who she reminded me of, that guy.
She's like, just tell me you're the Flash.
Because remember that guy was so hell bent on like he got him with the prescription glasses, right?
Yeah.
He got him, but he didn't do any fucking research. He didn't research what those glasses were, and it's the same thing with this lady. She didn't do any research of who this guy was. She just went guns fucking blazing, and she got burned. And then her defense after that was no more questions. She should have just did the line from the stuttering white guy.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, she drops the mic like she fucking was the one who deserves to drop the mic.
Right.
That's what that white dude in My Cousin Vinny was doing. That's how he says. He's like, no more questions for you.
Barry's like, I'm not going to reveal
And then
myself.
Barry
I'm going
Barry
to jail.
stands up. Barry stands up. He's like, "I want that guy," and he's pointing to Joe Pesci in the courtroom.
Yeah. There you go.
You're fired. I want that guy.
Yeah, you need someone that can argue really well. I mean, it was an open and shut case, honestly, the prosecution side, but the defense did nothing
but
to
the
pick it
defense,
apart.
Here's the defense's two big moves: tell everybody you're the Flash. No more questions.
I like how Iris goes. Iris is about to do it herself, and he zips over there, and she's like, "How are we able to be in this bubble? Like,
Yeah,
nobody can
when have
see
you
us."
ever ran that fast where you can have like a 5-minute conversation? And how did you not kill her running that fast, touching her?
And had you not, and there was papers flying everywhere, and everyone just said, "Oh, that's interesting." Or like,
Yeah.
what if one of the jurors was like staring at Barry for a second, and then like he disappeared and reappeared? You'd be like, "Wait a minute,
I don't know.
something's wrong
That's
here."
I was
That whole scene was so retarded.
yeah, that was basically the bubble scene from fucking Aquaman in Justice League. That's what that was. It's a flash bubble.
Oh, and then what made me laugh really, really hard was when the guy shows up at sentencing, and Barry goes and talks to him, and he's like, "There's a 12% chance that you were going to reveal yourself as the Flash," and I started cracking up. I'm like,
What is with DC and percentages?
right? And how did you get that percentage? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
How did you? Was there 100 berries that you saw this happen in?
yeah. Did you poll 100 berries and 12 of them said they would say that they'd turn themselves in as the Flash?
And wasn't he the one earlier too? He's called the Thinker, right?
I think so.
And
yeah.
there's an earlier scene from this season, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but there was a scene where the wife comes up and tells him a percentage of something happening, and he's like, "That's not high enough." And I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s, which is pretty much the same percentage that he just fucking told Barry.
Right.
Like there was an 80-something% chance of success. And you just told your wife like 10 episodes ago that wasn't good enough. Now all of a sudden it is because you got this new guy's body that can walk.
Right. And okay, so let's say technically Barry goes, "I'm the Flash." What would that
Right.
have done? What would that have changed? I don't think it would change anything. They'd be
The
like,
outcome
well,
of the trial?
they were like, well, you still fucking killed this dude. I don't care if you're the Flash.
No, because then they would have been able to reveal everything, like the Thinker, all this stuff.
Nobody would have.
And that he wasn't home. He wasn't home. They couldn't tell him where he was because he's supposed to be at Star Labs.
Nobody would have believed any of that.
Well, they probably would have believed him if they pointed a gun at Iris and shot, and he would have fucking had to move her out of the way.
Yeah, that'd be the only way. Yeah, I
But,
could see the judge doing that. You're like, "What are you doing? What if
Well,
you're
it's
wrong?"
It's better than the quote-unquote defense attorney.
No more questions.
No more questions, and the defense rests. You didn't ask any questions. You didn't even cross-examine his witness.
Barry, I have this really good idea.
It's not a big deal.
Just
Just hear me out. Just hear me out. We're fucked. We're so fucked. We're so fucked. The only way you're going to win this is if you tell everybody you're the Flash.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
What if, like, I kept thinking, like, what if he pretended the Flash to come in and grab him and yank him away? Like it was, and then it kind of pins it on the Flash versus on Barry.
You know how they could have done it? You know how they could have done it? Here's how they actually could have done it, and I know they could have done it this way. Do you remember the whole first season or 2 seasons, you didn't know who the Reverse Flash was, and you had to figure out who that person was in the hologram? He was actually beating the shit out of himself, but the Reverse Flash picture was a hologram. Why didn't Cisco just hologram the Flash in there and have the Flash tell everybody Barry wasn't there, and that the Flash is trying to figure out who did it, but Barry was with me?
Yeah, but that's too. Yeah, that's just too easy.
I mean, it makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense. I have to give him this though. I thought the trial of Barry Allen would have lasted 10 minutes like every other thing.
I was waiting.
And it would have been
I was
over
waiting
with.
for that too. Yeah.
But I think that's the next episode. He'll just like pop out and get out of jail in 10 minutes. Or
how fucked up was it that they actually sent him in the same prison, like the same cell that his dad was in?
I knew that was coming. I kind of knew that was going to happen for some reason. I was like, oh man, fuck! Like his dad was in jail all his life, and I bet you anything he's gonna
That's
be in
very
there.
convenient, Barry.
Yeah, yeah. The thinker thought of that one too. He's like, put him in there. He's like,
Yeah. It's like, if not, I'll just go in and write it myself.
but do you know, like, he's the Flash. He could easily like
Phase in and phase out.
he could phase in and phase out of there and help his buddies, and he's like, oh shit, I got to go back to jail.
Yeah.
And then just go back to jail. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, he just ran fast enough to have a flash bubble.
He had a 5
So he's
minute
definitely-
conversation.
yeah, he's
within
definitely-
a split second.
Without fucking tearing Iris's arms off from her and disintegrating her body.
I love how that's what you go to is like Superman crushing Lois because he went so fast, or like,
Yeah.
you know,
The
like
science behind it.
yeah, the science behind it. Because you're like,
The
how,
guy,
how
it's
did
a
he do
guy who
that?
can fly and a guy faster than light. And I'm talking about the science behind shit.
Right.
Oh, well, that's what nerds do.
Well, every time the Flash will take somebody with him, he puts his hand behind their head,
Right.
you know, and then he runs.
Yeah.
and
That's how fast he goes. He could break somebody's neck if he doesn't
Yeah.
hold. But when somebody runs out of a room after he gets punched in the face, he gives up.
He's like,
Explain that.
I can't catch him.
She's fucking gone.
I
What do you
can't
mean? She's fucking gone.
Did she?
She just ran. I bet you would beat her downstairs before she even makes it downstairs.
Did she?
Why? Because you're the Flash.
Did she mace you? Like, I
Yeah.
understand that,
Is she faster than you? Is she Reverse Flash now?
but if she maced you, you'd be able to flutter your eyelids so fast to make your eyes like.
That's what
You know,
like
fix
Cisco should
themselves.
say in his earpiece all the time when he has one of those scenes where he's like, "He got away," and Cisco's like,
No,
Well,
she didn't.
"What did he get? What did he get away in?" They drove off. I'm like, "A car." They drove off in a car.
A skateboard.
Barry, your top speed's like 1,200 miles an hour.
Right.
Where the fuck could they have drove off to that you couldn't find them?
He coulda-
You once checked an entire city for bombs in like 30 seconds.
That's what I don't understand. Is like he could just run if he didn't see where they were going, he could still
just
run
run
around
around.
the perimeter.
Yeah.
Just run around the perimeter and then make the circle smaller until he found him. And
Right,
so
exactly.
It's fucking
Because he's
stupid.
the fucking Flash. There's literally nobody that should ever be able to get away from him.
That was
The
it,
dumbest ways that I've seen people get away from is run out the room.
And then they had to fill in the episode with, you know, that nuclear guy, they called him Fallout, running around, which is like the
Yeah,
worst
I didn't-
villain. It wasn't
yeah.
even a villain. It was a guy that didn't even know what he was doing. He was
Basically,
doing
all that did was get Barry out of the courtroom.
Yeah.
And give all the other instead of trying to forensically try and figure. Okay, so these are the same guys, Cisco, who created a fucking wormhole, right? That they can just turn on and turn off in their building, right? Who do you think would be a good idea to find out how scientifically they were able to frame Barry? Probably the
Right.
people at Star Lab, right? Nope. Let's put Atomic guy here so that they're like,
They're
let's
busy.
leave everything to the shitty lawyer.
Right.
Like everybody's IQ and there's like above 200, and you let this fucking piece of shit lawyer defend Barry.
Yeah.
Miss no more questions.
Oh man.
Miss
I'm gonna-
no more questions, and
just
I don't
gonna-
need to do research.
I'm just gonna use that on my wife next time. Just give me like no more questions. Never mind.
No more questions. Yeah.
We're done. I lost. So the other CW show that I watched was the premiere of Black Lightning.
Yep.
And I definitely saw like this show is different than the other shows because it felt like more gritty and more violent.
Yes.
For sure, which I was actually kind of liked. I'm just not sure about this show yet. One episode is not enough for me to kind of gauge how good or bad this show is going to be, because I had some problems with this show too, and namely, you know, I think I texted you. I'm like, man, how many times? I mean, he didn't say it himself, kind of, you know, like Iron Fist does, but how many times did they mention his name, Black Lightning, like over and over again, to the point where I cringed every time they said it. And I was like, I know, we know.
I didn't have that much of a problem with that as you did. The biggest problem I had with this show was just one scene where he comes out and stops that kid from shooting his daughters
Yeah.
and just lets him walk.
I thought that was weird too.
Weird. That's fucking stupid.
And he got shot and he wandered out but he doesn't take care of those guys, but he zaps the cops.
Yeah.
Who recognized him. He's wearing a suit.
Yeah.
He just won an award. He was like
How did the girls not notice Black Lightning? That was their father.
I don't know.
Like if your
his
dad,
ex-wife knows, but
well, yeah, but she already knew that he was Black Lightning. But he was standing like right. It's not like the Flash because I liked how they did that. Even though the Flash is wearing a full fucking like, other than his mouth being cut out, you could still kind of tell that's Barry.
yeah.
So he would like vibrate his head and his voice, right? I
Right.
liked that. It made sense to me. I mean, they stopped making sense a long time ago in this show, but doing something like that made a lot of sense. Like, hey, just because I'm wearing a mask that covers the bridge of my nose, somebody who's known me for 20-something years would recognize me under this mask. So let me change the pitch in my voice and let me blur my face off, right? Black Lightning, all he has is that thing like from Batman and Robin. You know how Robin just glued that piece over his eyes?
Yeah.
That's what he's wearing. He's not wearing like a goggle band, like a Zorro thing where it ties behind the back of his head.
He should wear something full face, man, because you could tell by his beard who the fuck he is.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. How do your kids like if I walked into a room and wore a mask, right, and wore a suit, like the kids have never seen me in a suit and never seen me in that mask, they'd be like, "Daddy, why are you dressed like that?" And they're 2 and 6. They're 2 and 6.
Why doesn't Barry like cover his face all the way like the Reverse Flash did? Why does he cover? I mean, what if he ran really fast and like he swallowed a bug or something too? Like, why doesn't he have like a full covered mask?
Well, because everything moves slowly around him.
Like, I recognize that chin anywhere. It's fucking
Well,
Barry.
as far as the fly thing goes, everything moves slowly around him.
Yeah, I guess.
But still, at the same time, they were like, let's vibrate the face and vibrate the vocal cords. This guy's standing right in front of his fucking daughters, right under a goddamn light in the
he doesn't
hotel,
have-
and
has
nobody says,
He has a voice changer though, doesn't he?
no,
I think he's
a
got
little
a voice
bit.
changer. Yeah.
But still, I could see the face. If your dad walked up to you in that fucking suit, you're not going to recognize him?
Yeah, I mean it's a
Especially,
a
like you
really
said,
big
especially with a
dude.
beard.
yeah.
Especially with the beard. Like, that sets him apart, too.
Yeah, I was like, that's not a really good.
I was like, oh, because that
disguise.
scene right there, I was like, oh, this is where the kids find out, that their dad is Black Lightning, and they didn't look at him like he was dad. They looked at him like it was Black Lightning. I'm like, really? You don't see your dad there? He's same height, same color. He's black dude, beard,
Huge, like
Yeah.
just like big
Looks-
like your
looks-
dad.
walks like your dad too. No, don't see it.
Don't say it. Okay, no more questions.
Yeah, it's like the SNL skit. You ever see that SNL skit when they
Yeah.
had Terry Hatcher on?
Oh yeah,
And everybody, like normal people, would just walk out in glasses, and she wouldn't recognize him. And then they would take the glasses off, and she would recognize him again.
right.
And it was just making fun of her character Lois not recognizing Superman and Clark Kent. Well, this is like the two girls not
Yeah.
recognizing that Black Lightning's their dad. Like
you
Black
black?
Lightning is black, same head as your dad, beard,
Dad, are you Black
same
Lightning?
haircut,
Are
same
you Black
haircut.
Are you Black Lightning? No, no more questions.
No more questions for you.
You. The defense rests.
Yeah.
All right, we got some trailers to talk about. Tomb Raider. What did you think of that?
I thought it looked really good. It looked a lot like the Tomb Raider video game that was released a year,
Yeah,
2 years
the
ago.
the reboot of the franchise, right? Like the
Yeah.
origin story.
Basically, Tomb Raider, or I should say, the Uncharted series is like Tomb
Yeah.
Raider,
Yep.
right? But then the new Tomb Raider plays like Uncharted, which is really weird. Like, think about that.
Yeah, it is weird.
So it looked like it looked like Tomb Raider, the remake Uncharted version.
It looks like she was jumping and falling a lot, not dying. Like some of the stunts look fucking crazy.
Yeah. Like, oh, here's the part in the video game where I fucking forgot to hit X an extra time and I died.
This is where I jump and I throw a rope and latch onto the limb and then
Yeah.
fly across a chasm all in one shot.
Well, the thing about this, the scenes that I saw in this trailer, which was interesting, was it reminded me of the video game without actually shoving it in my face. Like it
Right.
made sense for the movie. Because remember in the terrible movie Doom,
Yeah.
remember at the end of the movie, for some reason they decided to go first person.
Right. Just like the game.
And so it was like a huge gimmick, you know. So it wasn't like it didn't feel like that. And it just made sense for this, like when she's hanging from the
That
trailer,
tree,
I think it was.
the
Yeah,
tree or something.
yeah, it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
But again, that's pulled right from the video game.
Well, the original, the other Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, there was a lot of wire work and stuff that looked really fake. So we'll see. You know,
Right.
I like this actress. I mean, she's an Academy Award winner. Really liked her in Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Actually liked her in the Bourne movie too. She was in the Jason Bourne movie.
it's the same thing with like it's the same thing from old comic book movies or comic book TV shows and then video games. The major problem with all of these things is that they don't trust the source material.
Yeah.
Which is mind-boggling to me because the whole reason why you're even considering this game or this comic book is because of how popular it is, right?
Yes. Yep.
And the reason why it's popular is because of the stories and the characters. And what's the first thing Hollywood always fucks up? The story and the characters.
Right.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me.
No.
You know, like that's why Fantastic Four failed so miserably. You know, and
Twice.
well, yeah, well, three total times,
Normal.
two different franchises.
No more questions.
Right. no more sequels for you.
For you.
Doctor Doom was terrible in all those
Oh yeah.
movies.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't stay true to his character. They kept trying to rewrite his character. I'm like, do you realize people like Doctor Doom because he's Doctor Doom? This
Yeah.
guy's a fucking rich kid. In the last movie, he was like some kind of rich whiz kid.
Yeah.
Not from Latveria. Just fucking go with it. Could you imagine
Yeah.
if they changed like Wakanda to something else? Like they changed Black Panther to not being Black Panther.
Like Harlem.
Like don't put him. No, don't even do that. Just like say he was on a baseball team instead or some shit.
It's hit Black Jaguar.
Yeah, or like the black version of Tony Stark because that's what they tried to do with Doom in the second remake, the first remake.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one. They tried to make that other. I don't even remember what that guy looks like, but they tried to make Doom the exact opposite, the more flamboyant version of Reed Richards.
Right. Right.
It was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not Doom. Can you just? Nobody's actually tried to like now that you know Fantastic Four is going to go back to Marvel. I bet you Marvel's like, we're going to do Doom. He's going to be from Latveria. Why? Because that's where he's fucking from. Like, why would we try to change that?
Why would we
And
change
people like
that?
people tout like Marvel's like you know thinking about how they're doing their stuff. They've tweaked the stories, but they never not stayed true to the characters.
Right. That's the main thing. As long as you stay true to the characters, you can tweak little things, you know. And sometimes what they tweak makes more sense. It's just like, oh, that would be really hard to explain that. Let's just do it this way, and then it just kind of flows.
Yeah, for the most part, all of their tweaks have worked. I'm not a, you know, Marvel fanboy, but it's their stuff is way better because for the most part they stay true to the characters and they don't really deviate too much.
Yeah, because I remember like didn't Hank Pym like created Ultron, right? But they made it in the movies that Stark did.
Tony Stark did,
and I
yeah,
was okay
yeah.
with that because I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see that happening.
Well, the entire
know?
Civil War that happens in the movies is completely different
Yeah.
than the comic books.
Yeah.
Civil War is actually a civil war because at that point in time the entire Marvel universe has already been established.
Right.
So, like, you know, in the movie version, there was no Reed Richards, played a major part. You know, there was no
X-Men.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but there was no Spider-Man revealing himself. That was the biggest thing that happened in Civil War.
Right.
Was Spider-Man revealing himself to the world who he was because
That's
he wanted
right.
to take Tony's side. And there's no switching sides in this either, like because you know, Spider-Man being the biggest character in all of Marvel, he played a major role by choosing Tony Stark first and revealing himself, then realized that Stark was heading down a wrong path and he switches sides halfway through.
Right. Right.
But you don't get that in this Civil War because you just introduced Spider-Man in this world. So, but it still worked. Somehow it worked.
Absolutely. No, Marvel they're geniuses. They know what they're doing. They've got that shit nailed down.
I do want the hell's his name? Who was supposed to be the villain in Iron Man 3? Why am I drawing a blank?
Oh,
the
Mandarin, yeah.
Yeah, I want the Mandarin back. I want the actual Mandarin. That movie's bullshit.
Tell it right into Feige. Be like, hey man, when are you gonna do this?
That's like me telling you, like, I don't care how much money this movie made.
Yeah.
No, fuck you. That's not the Mandarin.
Let's reboot. Let's do it.
Let's do it the right way.
What is another trailer that popped out today? Oh,
Super Troopers.
yes. Oh my god, I cannot wait to see this.
So now that I've actually seen the trailer, a full trailer for this movie, I'm so much more convinced this movie's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait to see this movie.
I had no idea they were going to go that route. I think that was so cool to like make it to where like, oh, this territory, it now includes Canada, so like they have to work with the Canadians and stuff. And oh my god, I was
so good,
laughing so hard when they were like playing Mounties and they're talking to those people that they pulled over.
They're just saying like French words.
They're just saying a bunch of French words. It was so fucking funny.
Or just French, like famous French things, like hockey players and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And food.
They oh my god, and they got everybody back.
Yep.
You know,
even
like,
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter's in it. Yeah, Brian Cox, who's like a dramatic actor, is like he's super.
He was
funny
great in it. Yeah, he was great in it.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really cool. They got him back too.
I can't wait. This is going to be released on 420. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck! I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait for this movie.
I hope they have 420 showing, so that'd be genius.
It is. It's going to be released on 420. Oh, you mean 420 at 420?
Yeah, yeah. You got to. I mean, you got to.
I don't know. It would. I don't know if they do. That's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
If the theaters are smart, they'll just like have a vendor inside the theater.
They're like
somebody with like munchies
selling,
like right there selling Funyuns. Yeah.
Chex Mix. And,
yeah. Like ice cream bars, full size Snickers bars, Charleston Chews. Those are good.
Charleston Chews.
Those are good.
Oh my god.
Twix are awesome. Frozen Twix even better than frozen Snickers. They should do that.
Holy shit, man.
They would make so much fucking money.
Yep, in one day. They'd make all the money. They're like, hey, we sold more merchandise than we sold tickets.
Yeah, if every single theater for that movie on 420 at 420 decided to put concession stands inside the theater for that day, it would be like the single biggest boost in concessions ever. Ever.
Call us. We're the marketing department.
Just be like, well, for some reason we thought you guys be hungry, so we're gonna be selling stuff inside here.
So they're like, the executives are like, let me get this straight, Jerry, because Jerry works for, the movie company now.
Right.
And he's like, we have this stoner movie coming out, and I think we should sell concessions within the concessions. What do you think? Like, you know what, Jerry? Out of all the fucking ideas you've had, this is the best one. You're promoted. Oh shit. Lastly, the last trailer that I saw today was for Ash vs. Evil Dead season 3.
I didn't watch that because I didn't want anything spoiled.
Oh my god. Fuck, you would say that. So now I can't even talk about it.
They talk about it. I mean, it's not spoilers really.
Well, I mean, just for you, but they showed some stuff because like each season, I keep thinking, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Like, how much can they do of this?
This is the last season too, right?
It's the last season as far as I think it didn't get picked up. I think I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think it got picked up.
Well,
but
wasn't Bruce Campbell out there on Twitter saying like, you guys need to stop downloading?
Yes,
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
He said if you guys would pay for the subscription service, we could keep the show going. So, each season is designed. They could just end it right then and there, or they can keep going. So the way the second season ended, I didn't really like all that much, but it set up the season 3 perfectly because now he's back in his hometown. He's a hero now and not a pariah. And then Lucy Lawless, kind of you see her very shortly at the very end, kind of walking through the crowd as they're praising Ash. So she's going to be the big baddie. And sure enough, in the trailer, she pops up and the evil follows her, and like the town is just like going to shit. And then you find out that he has a daughter, like some broad that he got married to in a drunken stupor or whatever. They had a kid. He didn't know that he had a kid, and because he bailed or whatever. And so he meets the kid, and I can't do enough justice because you have to watch a trailer because there's stuff in
Are
the
the
trailer.
other two back? Are the other two the guy and the girl back?
Yeah, they're back, and their roles are expanded. Especially Pablo, because he's
I love those guys.
Yeah, Pablo remember he died in the last season, then they brought him back by going back in time, which was totally bullshit, but they brought him back, but he's got some shit going on with him. Kelly looks like there's some shit going on, and then it looks like Ash's daughter's like this kind of whiny kind of girl kind of thing, and like mad at her dad about shit, but then like you see her step up a few times too. And there's a lot of evil shit. And then there's a thing at the end they do that reminded me of like Stranger Things with the big baddie, that huge mind flayer thing. Yeah. There's a big beast in Evil Dead as well, season 3, like a huge motherfucker that comes out of out of a portal. It's humongous.
I hope they don't end this series on a cliffhanger.
I don't think they will. I mean, each season is ended in such a way where if that's the end, it's the end, or they could just keep going.
No, I thought last season or the season before where they teased the next season, or it wasn't like it was a cliffhanger.
I don't. Maybe the end of season 1, because they give Lucy Lawless the shit, and they're like, "Hey, we did it," and they drive off, and you see the big smoke fall on him or something like that. Like
right.
So I mean, but if the series didn't get picked up, you'd be like, that sucks. But at the same time, you're like, haha, that's funny because Ash always fucks up. It's like
right.
he's like Dumb and Dumber. When that van full of women shows up and they're like, hey, we're on a tour and we're looking for 2 guys to like oil us before we go on, before we model. And he's like, you know what? He's like, there's a town that way. And the van takes off. And then he's like, holy shit, crikeys. And he runs and he's like, wait. And he stops the van and he's like, you want to go that way. It like makes, instead of like, wait, we're the guys. Yeah. So anyway,
Well, Ash always fails upwards.
Upward, yeah, that's true.
No matter how many times he fucks up, he somehow manages to unfuck it. Like somehow he manages. Like he'll be the reason why it happened, but then he'll fix
Tony
it.
Stark of Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just not rich.
So I mean, I think he's awesome as Ash. He's still fucking great. And the reason I don't want to end on a cliffhanger is because of the uncertainty that they're not going to get picked up again.
Well,
from Stars.
Netflix would have to buy them up. Netflix is showing the first 2 seasons right now.
Yeah.
So I binge watched it the other day, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for season 3, which comes out February 25th or something like that. So anyway, but that's dude, that's all the news I got. It's kind of it feels like a full casserole, but I don't know.
Well, the only thing we didn't talk about is Supergirl because you didn't watch it. But wait till you see what Brainiac looks like.
What, Brainiac's in it now?
One of the Brainiacs is. If you know anything about the Legion,
Legion of Doom, yeah.
No, the Legion of Superheroes.
Legion of Superheroes.
Brainiac's in that.
Okay. And
it looks like they ran out of money.
God.
Literally, fucking looks like they ran out of money. So you ever those? They were on infomercials, and there were these like discs that if you could put them in the closet, you just kind of put a piece of screw in there, and they kind of hung up like a fire alarm.
Yeah.
But you would press the dome, and the dome would light up, as a light.
Right.
So picture 3 smaller versions of that, and some dude painted blue, and that's Brainiac.
Oh, you kidding me?
Yeah, he
Oh
looks
my
like
God.
it literally looks like they ran out of money. They're like, oh man, this is a fucking special effects heavy episode. Where can we cut corners? And they looked at Brainiac, was like, well, let's just paint this guy blue and put these fucking flashlights on his head.
You would think they'd be able to afford it since they got rid of Andrew Kreisberg. They should have a pretty hefty amount of money left over.
Well, yeah, and also, what's her face? Who was the big actress that left? Kate what the hell was her name? Calista Flockhart. She's no longer there.
Yeah.
She's no longer there.
Yeah,
So-
she had to ask for a ton of money.
Well, when you watch it, pay attention to. You're gonna laugh at how stupid Brainiac looks.
They
'cause he
they didn't get Brainiac right in Smallville either. I hated that character.
God. Well, the Smallville one looks way better.
Yeah. It was just
Way
Spike.
better.
It was just Spike from Buffy. That's all it was.
I know, but just trust me. Just trust me. When you see this, you're gonna wish it was Spike.
And he acted just like Spike. Yeah. Anyway, Scott. Okay, I'll have to look out for that.
Now
All
you
right.
have to watch it after this episode. You have
I
to
will.
go look.
I'll go watch
You have
it.
to look just for Brainiac.
I'll fast forward to Brainiac and then I'll turn it off and go, no more questions for you. All right. Well, if you like what you hear, folks, go to patreon.com/chew on this podcast and give us a little bit of money and we'll give you some free crap. We have different tiers, different rewards and all that stuff. And then, Vic, of course, you have
West Coast Wawa. God damn it. When is this going to happen?
a year later.
It's almost a year later, and we haven't gotten
They
shit.
keep expanding to other states, too.
They keep making it look even better and better. They're like taunting us. Hey, we know you guys want on the West Coast. Fuck you. Here's what we got now. So hashtag West Coast Wawa. We want Wawa to pay attention. Retweet it. Redo whatever you need to do to get Wawa to come out to the West Coast.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was episode 118, our Casserole episode of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic,
Till next time, folks, chew on that.
later.